guys, and welcome back to my channel. So this is the YouTubers weekly stamping collab, and the theme this week was the 4 elements. So here are the manis of the ladies that participated in this collaboration. So let's get started with my nails. So after I filed and buffed, I removed my previous sets. I am applying base coat and I am using OBI. So I'm just cleaning up here before I cure it in the lamp in case I got any gel product onto my skin. Cure in the lamp for 1 to 2 minutes. So the first gel polish I am using is from Azure, number 137. I'm going to apply my first thin coat onto the pinky nail only. On my ring fingernail, I'm going to apply shade number 125 from Azure as well. On my middle fingernail, I'm going to use this Arte Clavo gel polish brand number 1441, and this is like a gray shade. And on my index nail, I am using Maphie number 007. I'm gonna do a little cleanup and then pop it in the lamp and cure for a minute. So now I'm gonna do my second coat. Remember to always do your gel polishes, coats in thin layers so they could cure properly in the lamp. Clean up a little bit around the cuticles, then pop it in the lamp and cure for a minute. So since I'm gonna do some stamping and some freehand nail art, I'm gonna remove that sticky layer off all of the nails, and I'm just using alcohol and a lint-free wipe. So the stamping plates I am using is EJB X21. So I thought this image of these bubbles particles would go perfect with the water element. Stamping polish I am using is white from BornPrettyStore, and I'm using my Beauty Big Bang scraper and stamper. So I'm gonna stamp the image onto my pinky nail. Since it's a little short, I'm gonna stamp it at an angle so it could cover most of the nail. The next stamping plate I am using is EJB X17. I'm using the images of the clouds, and this is for the wind element. And I will be stamping these little clouds in my middle fingernail. So I'm starting with the water element, and I was inspired by these deviant art images of the 4 elements like in anime form. So I'm gonna start with the water like I said. So I'm painting the silhouette of a woman. I'm drawing in her face and her torso, and I'm using a light shade of blue. The nail art brush I am using is Nicole Diary, listed down below if you are interested. With different shades of blue, I'm gonna go in and start drying her hair, and her hair is gonna be like a wet effect, so that's why I'm using like different shades of blue. Now with black acrylic paint, I'm gonna start outlining. Go back with a little bit of blue paints and white paints to draw in more strands of her hair to make it look like wet. Now moving on to my ring fingernail. This is going to be my fire element nail, and for this nail I am going to be drawing a guy like on fire. So I'm starting off with his face, and his face is all completely red. Actually his whole body is red. So let's start off by drawing his head and his torso. So once the red paint dries, I'm going to start in and drawing the flames, and the flames are like part of his hair, or technically it is his hair. So I'm using shades of oranges and yellows to create these flames. And then with like black acrylic paint, I go in and draw like little rocks on his forehead. That's how it was in the image. I will put it somewhere around the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Then I go in and start drawing his nose and his mouth, then his eyes. Lastly, with yellow acrylic paint, I draw like some veins of flames on the rocks and around his face. And that's pretty much it for the fire element dude. So now let's move on to the wind element. This one is going to be another lady, so I'm going to draw her silhouette of her face and torso, and I'm using like a dusty blue shade. And I'm going to keep it translucent since you know this is the wind element, so she's made of wind and clouds. So for her hair, it's going to be like full of fluffy clouds, so I'm going in with some white acrylic paint and try to water it down too so it could look fluffy. And then I will go in like with shades of gray and blue to give the little clouds dimension. With some black acrylic paint, I'm gonna start outlining, but this time I'm not gonna outline completely the lady because I want her to look like wind and clouds, so I'm only gonna outline like her face and her hand. So underhand, I'm drawing like a gust of wind because that's how it shows in the picture that I'm using as reference. And here I'm going in drawing like some dimension to the clouds with like a gray shade of acrylic paint. That is pretty much it for the wind element. So the next element is earth element. So I'm gonna be drawing like a earth guy. So I'm gonna go in and start drawing his head and his torso, and he's gonna be in a green shade. For his hair, they are made of rocks because you know he's the earth element. So I'm going in with like a gray shade, like a dark gray shade, drawing in some rocks. With black acrylic paint, I start outlining. With lighter shade of gray, I start giving the rock some dimension and some highlights. Since he is the earth element, I decided to add some vines on his shoulder, and then with green acrylic paint I draw some leaves or like moss on the vines. that is pretty much it. The last thing I did was get a greenish and a silver glitter polish and just added a little bit touch of sparkle here and there on the nails. So I hope you guys enjoy my design. My inspiration again was from those playing cards anime pictures that somebody drew. I just found them on Google, so I will leave a link down below if you guys want to see them again. And I will see you guys in the next one, and don't forget to go check out the other ladies' designs out too. Links will be in the description box below. Bye bye.